We will provide a product to business customers if they so choose to purchase it, but we're more looking to be competitive in the residential environment.
So in the residential area, you're going to lay your own fiber optic in the rights of way, which around here, a lot of those are in the rear yards.
Rear easements, yes. Yeah, we'll use the public rights of way with traditional permitting that'll be reviewed by the individual municipalities if they own the right of way, or the county if they do, or MDOT, I guess. And then off of that, you would run what is kind of called a drop. It's a tap from that main line to your specific home, but that only happens if you sign up for service. So we would not cross onto your property without your permission.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda, and we will need a roll call on this.
Mr. Supervisor, I move for the approval of the consent agenda for Tuesday, November 12th, 2024.
Okay, motion is made by Clerk Vorba. Is there a second? Second by Treasurer Dorshevitz. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, very good. Thank you, everybody. And if you are here on a consent agenda item, you're certainly free to go home to your families, unless you just want to
Hang out.
watch local government at its finest. Okay, public comment, item E, limited to 3 minutes. Bob, if you want to bring up the
Oh, we
shot
got
clock.
someone. We got,
Oh, well, this is public comment time, so.
yes, she
yeah,
is.
just hold on.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to take this time to thank everybody on the board and to congratulate all the newly elected officials and to wish Supervisor Heisey and Audrey Monahan wish you just a wonderful time in the future. Good things happen to you. You're going to always be in my prayers, and I know it's been a pleasure working under your leadership. I've learned a lot. I think it's kind of like jury duty and working on the election. You don't know what all is involved in running a municipality, city government, until you've actually been involved in everything. And so I truly appreciate your respect, your fairness, your equity. As a woman, I really appreciate that. And I thank you. God bless. And to the newly elected Supervisor-elect Kermy and Trustees-elect Clinton and Growth, I wish you all the best as well. God bless you all, and you'll be in my prayers as well as you transition into the new government. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else?
I'm Dale Bernhardt. I'd like to congratulate all those making up the new board, including new trustees Sandy Growth and Mark Clinton, and of course our new supervisor, Chuck Kermy. The residents have high hopes for this new board and hoping this board are responsible servants. A few of those responsibilities include understand the agenda items and research them. Be transparent. The residents have the right to know the issues laid before this board. Use all mechanisms to inform the residents of the issues. You are not beholden to special interest groups. You work for us, we pay your salaries. Never put the residents through the trauma of the last 4 years again. Know your constituents, not just a few at church. The past 4 years have shown that many on the board have not been tolerant to any form of resident opposition, especially the supervisor. The residents have constantly engaged this board for them to rethink or rescind many issues that would erode our quality of life. A few of those issues: the tree ordinance, Northville Downs PUD, and the $10 million lawsuit that has followed, Elks property and its through road, Myers Superstore, SPARS, desire by our supervisor to eliminate HVA, a quality and free ambulance service, Salem Springs wastewater treatment plant, smart water meters, expensive with no benefit to the residents. And there are others, but point made. And all through residents' factual presentations, we were subjected to dehumanization. We were called goons, alt-right, rhinos, liars, dark money machine, smears of the truth, and more. But we persevered, and we were successful in stopping many of those issues and remaking of this board. In closing, one interesting fact I want to share. On general election day, I was at an election precinct. Next to me was a Democrat running for trustee who stated, Mr. Heisey has offered his full support to get the township Democrats elected because he hated Mr. Kermey so much. So I ask you trustees and clerk, what do you think about that? You spent countless hours and money campaigning as a Republican, and your supervisor was willing to throw you under the bus to fulfill his need for anger and hurt and hate, because that is what drives him. Mr. Heisey, pray to God that he replaces your hate and anger with wisdom and love. But until he does that, I ask the Republican Party to never allow you to hold office as a Republican because you have been an embarrassment to the party.
How is that not hate?
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Birmingham. I'm a Lake Point resident. I'm on the Homeowners Association as well. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Kermey, to be the new supervisor. That's very exciting. And much like Laura said, I wish you well, and it'll be an exciting new time for our township. And Supervisor Heisey, for your past 8 years of service, I thank you for all the hard work that you've done. And one of the issues that was near and dear to me and my neighborhood was the reopening of Fire Station number 2. And when you campaigned on it, that was one of the things that you stated as a goal for your first administration. And that came to fruition, and that fire station is open and running. And I can't tell you the number of times that residents have said that they feel better knowing that emergency response is close by. Especially, we have a lot of older residents in our neighborhood. So that was you get all these flyers in the mail from all these different candidates for all these different offices, and that was the one that probably impacted my home and my neighborhood the most directly. And so I remember that you did follow through with that, and I thank you. So whatever comes next in your life, I wish you well. And for all of you that won re-election, congratulations. And for those of you that are starting your new positions, congratulations. Thank you.
Okay.
First of all, I want to congratulate the township officials that were just elected. I am not Supervisor Zantop, as Kurt has been calling me on social media, but thanks for the promotion. For those of you that don't know, I supported Kurt Heisey for state rep and supervisor until it was apparent he only cared about himself and not his constituents. I have attended almost every board meeting since 2005 because I love and care about this community. Because of my love for this community, my family has to endure relentless attacks and lies on social media by Kurt and his minions. Kurt even went so far as to create a Facebook page attacking my family called Stop the Zantoppers, where he trashed not only me, but other trustees and citizens of the community. This is an insult to my 1,800 former employees who still to this day proudly call themselves Zantoppers. I've had to endure numerous false accusations and lawfare brought on by Kurt. Kurt broke the law when he made a false police call on me. Kurt lost his election because they ran a dirty campaign full of lies and exaggerations. He treated residents who attended board meetings with disgust and dismissal. He even had the audacity to tell me to shut up. Kurt's refusal to listen to the people when they repeatedly told him they were against things he was doing, which would forever change our way of life in the township. The lawsuits he brought against us, suggesting Myra sue us and offering his services as an attorney against us, did not set so well with people. These 19 flyers full of disgusting false accusations are all part of him losing the election. Even after being soundly defeated, Kurt continues to act like a junior high school attendant, trashing Supervisor Kermey constituents on social media. Many distinguished people from his own party that Kurt has trashed on social media are in the audience tonight, including his county chairwoman. Kurt, now is your time for opportunity to apologize to these people. As we move on, I hope the members of this board have learned lessons from Kurt's actions and treat your constituents with the respect they deserve. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Klein.
Hi, Bill Pine, 46-year township resident. When I first started coming to this group in December, or rather February of 2023, I talked about the need for data. For most of the past 2 years, I've continued to talk about the need for data to make good township decisions. Tonight, for the final meeting of the current board, I'm here to talk about, you guessed it, data. Tonight, there are 3 PUD items on the agenda: a proposal for 2 6-bedroom, quote, prayer garden homes, unquote, at St. John's, personal warehouses at Schoolcraft, and apartments at the old Courthouse Grill location. As I understand it, the general purpose of PUDs should be to provide benefits to the community over and above the township's master plan and zoning, while, according to Michigan Zoning Enabling Act 110 of 2006, quote, ensuring the protection of natural resources and the health, wealth, and welfare of the users of the planned unit development and the residents of the surrounding area. When PUDs are proposed, I believe they are supposed to identify variances from the master plan and zoning and typically address a number of criteria for their approval, generally starting with the Planning Commission, data. Turning to tonight's PUDs, the St. John's Dwelling PUD cites the Religious Land Use, and get this, Institutionalized Persons Act of 2000. What does this mean? Are they dormitories? Something else? There wasn't any data discussing intended use. Documentation for the other PUDs is silent on how they vary from current zoning and the master plan, or on what the Planning Commission has analyzed thus far. Given the township's disastrous prior experience with the racetrack, where essentially none of the 8 criteria for PUD approval were actually met, despite McKenna's assurances that they were okay, this is concerning. A responsible approach to considering these 3 PUDs would be to postpone any decision-making until the availability of appropriate data to use to assess their desirability. These PUDs could be just fine, or they could be terrible. But right now, you don't know. The township's recent experience with dataless decision-making, the racetrack, resulted in the change in board membership that we'll see at the next meeting. If you approve these PUDs without data, you sent the message that Kurt wasn't the only problem in this regard, and confirm your problem status as well. Data is a good thing. Please use it and act appropriately. In the broader context, the township needs to fix its analytical processes to avoid having this happen again. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is William Ikes, township resident, just over 20 years of my life here, okay? And I want to talk tonight about budgets and making every dollar last, okay? When I was at the last meeting, there was township potential budgets. People had line items on there. One of them was a Super Duty pickup truck for the DPW, right? I think there was $75,000 budgeted. I used to be the assistant chief program engineer of the Super Duty pickup truck, so I can tell you what the bill of material costs and the profit on the truck. I won't get into that, but what I wanted to let you know is there's 3 different trim types, okay? The XL is the type that has the rubber floor mat, right? So you can take a hose and wash it out. So if you're a DPW guy, you probably have boots on, you probably have mud, right? That's the proper trim level. It's also the lowest cost truck. If you get a regular cab, which can fit 3 adults, right, 2 most of the time, very easily depending on size, you can probably get yourself a truck in the $40,000 to $45,000 range, okay? You can pull it up on your phone like I did literally 10 minutes ago. They've got them at Avis Ford. They've got them literally all over town. So there is an opportunity to reduce costs, right? So I just want to implore the board here, right? I know you guys are putting your time in, you do good work, right? But to try to make every dollar last so what's left over can be used for other things. So the other thing I want to bring up here, since I have a minute and a half left, is the fire department, the Super Duty vehicle that they had that had the light rack and whatnot. It was $230-some thousand. It was on the agenda, I believe, back in early September or August. Man, that's a lot of money. I know we need the best equipment. I know we want to save lives here, right? Shift Group is one of the companies that's in Plymouth Township on Beck Road. In that park, they have a light rack division. They actually have EV vehicles, right? So if we're going to make the transition to sustainable, right, and be mindful of not burning fuel, which is it's a direct carbon item from tailpipe emissions, you may want to consider, as we migrate our fleet and upgrade it, to look at EVs, number one, and to try to use local business, number two, because we may get a better deal. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff Peters, been a township resident for just about 13 years. Wanted to, as some of the others have, actually congratulate Trustee Buckley and Stewart on their winning their 4 more years as trustees, and Mark Clinton, Sandy Groth, and thank those that are, and Treasurer Bort Dorshevitz as well, and Clerk Vorba, and Chuck Kermy for his new assignment. Congratulate them and thank those that are here for the last 4 years. I've kind of wondered what might be next on Supervisor Heisey's list, what he's going to do now. I felt a little sorry for him. And today I heard a story that you have attained or being appointed to some sort of high position, can be at MITC. And just in the interest of transparency, I thought that some of the folks sitting here might like to hear about that. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody else? All righty, we're going to move on now to item F1. This is the mandatory public hearing, which is required for the 2025 budget. This is required by state law, and so at this point, we're going to open up the public hearing at 7:22. I'll make the motion to open the public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Clerk Vorba. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Thank you. Supervisor Heisey?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorshevitz?
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
The hearing is open.
Okay, so this is just your opportunity to comment on any aspect of the budget. We do have Finance Director Elizabeth Cutie here tonight, and Carol Roshan, our Deputy Finance Director. We're not voting on the budget tonight. This is just a required public hearing. I anticipate that the budget will be taken up by the new board in December. My responsibility as Township Supervisor under state law is that I have to prepare a draft budget to the Board of Trustees no later than September 1st of each year, which we accomplished. And since September 1st, we've had hearings almost every meeting on various aspects of the township budget. So again, tonight, the entire draft budget is in your agenda pack. And if there's anybody in the public who has any questions about the proposed budget, this would be an opportunity for you to comment. And we'd still maintain the 3-minute rule as well.
Liz, this supersedes all other versions that we have. We should throw those away.
It does supersede all other versions. You can choose whether or not you want to keep the earlier versions.
So October 25 is the right version.
Yes.
All right, any other comments from the public? Hearing then, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing at 7:23 PM.
I move for the closing of the public hearing.
Motion's made by Clerk Vorba, seconded by Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Second.
Right, awesome. And please take the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, at what time?
7:23.
7:23. Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Treasurer Dorchevitz?
Yes.
Supervisor Heising?
Yes.
Motion carries. The meeting is closed.
All righty, good. Next up is item F2. This is the St. John's Cleric Housing PUD amendment. We do have representatives here from St. John's, and I think at this point I'll hand it over to our planner, Laura Haw, to tell us what this is all about.
This is an
And,
amendment.
This is an amendment to the PUD that I
Existing.
believe was first executed in 1983 sometime. Well, okay, so,
1983, 2005.
well, we can't find the originals because those were a lot longer at some other point in history. Okay.
You gentlemen can correct that.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is hand over the screen to Laura, who will get us a little bit more detail here.
Should be the west?
West?
Yes. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you, Trustee Dershowitz. Good evening, trustees. Laura Haw with McKenna. On your agenda tonight are 3 different planned unit development PUD considerations. So before jumping into the first, St. John's, I wanted to just give a little bit of background and kind of orient ourselves with the PUD process and what that entails. So the PUD process is a multi-phased development review that involves both the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees. The first phase are really these 2 first steps where the applicant is seeking a PUD option. So they're asking, is this PUD appropriate for the site? Can it meet these 8 criteria? That happens at the Planning Commission level. They make a recommendation to the Board of Trustees and hold a public hearing. The second step in that phase 1 is for the board, this body, to review the Planning Commission's recommendation and determine if the PUD is eligible. If the board does find that those conditions are satisfied and it is eligible, then the applicant will go forth and do a more detailed site plan. That's the development plan. And that really constitutes, phase 2, where they go back to the Planning Commission. It may take several meetings to get the site plan finalized, and then that is a approval and recommendation to this board to finalize the PUD contract. And that's really the 4th step in phase 2. And then once approved, an applicant has 1 year to obtain building permits and start construction. And PUDs can take a variety of different forms in the township. They can be residential, they can be institutional, they can be commercial. So for instance, we have the Henry Ford Health System PUD, that's institutional and commercial. There's also just down the road, the Red Olive and commercial development with those townhomes. That's another PUD in the township, and that's a residential and commercial mixed use. So for tonight, the first application is the St. John's Resort Amendment number 6 to their approved PUD. And in terms of the timeline, they already have their approved PUD, which the most recent one, original that we have, goes back to 2004. And they have, of course, obtained their building permits and have commenced construction on their amendments that they have proposed. So they're really off this chart. In your board packet and just on the screen here again is a summary of the previous amendments that St. John's Resort has requested. So that would include a ballroom addition, their ceremony pavilion, some new infrastructure such as a pump house and landscaping. Their third amendment was to carve out 8 acres on Sheldon Road, which would then be proposed under a separate development through Pulte for residential. The fourth amendment was for a putting green and some additional outdoor dining near the pro shop, and some ADA accessibility and landscaping improvements. And then lastly, most recently, amendment number 5 was for a 4,000 square foot addition to the facilities building to the south of the property. This request here, number 6, is to construct 2 structures that would be located southwest of the main banquet center. So you can see here on the exhibit in the corner to the bottom left. The applicant is proposing 2 new prayer garden homes. So these would be residential dwellings with up to 6 bedrooms per home. And this is the level of detail that we have provided for, or the applicant has provided for this amendment, which is consistent with their previous amendments. This would be contingent on administrative site plan review for these 2 homes, and of course, all building permits as necessary, along with full engineering. So within your packet, on page 214 is the proposed motion, which reads, authorizing approval of the 6th amendment to the planned unit development contract for the St. John's Resort, contingent on administrative site plan approval and subject to any necessary modifications identified by the township attorney and engineer. And that resolution is included on the following page.
Okay.
The applicant is here if you have any specific questions about the use, and I'm happy to answer any as well.
Okay, so do we have any questions for Laura at this time? Anything else? So let's have a representative from the applicant come forward and just take some questions. We have 2 representatives, and so let's just take some questions from the board.
Let's hear from them.
Well, that's what they're...
Francis Resendez from Resendez Design Group are the architects working on all the projects that have been previously mentioned at St. John's.
My name is Paul Wiegert, the CEO and owner of the management company Boutique Hotel Professionals, and I've been at the property for 22 years.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your project.
So basically, the intent by the foundation is to build 2 priest houses, 6 bedrooms, consistent with the history of the property. And certainly initially when it was a monastery, and certainly the cardinal and his brother live there today. So again, this is just an extension of provide them a different place for priests to continue to perform their work with the foundation. And certainly consistent, again, with the history of the property.
Would these priests are these retired priests, or are they on call for various reasons?
They could be both. They could be both.
So is this like a rectory of some kind?
I'm sorry?
Is this like a rectory for the priests that work at the chapel there?
So when the Pulte Foundation purchased the property, there's a larger mission with the foundation. And obviously they're working with local churches in the Detroit area and providing housing for these priests to help in this area because they're working still closely with the Archdiocese. So this will not be rented out to anybody. It will not be for-profit by any means. So, currently all the proceeds from St. John's Resort, 100% of the proceeds go to the foundation, to charity. But this is has nothing to do with the extension of the hotel or anything else. This is just strictly for them. So.
Okay, so it's not like a retreat center for priests to come from different
no, and
areas?
as Francis has said in the past, when the retreat center, I think Archbishop Bigeron came into Detroit in 2009, and probably 2010 or something, we shut down the retreat center, but when it was open, we did have priests living there at that time too.
So currently Cardinal Maida and I think there's a couple other... His brother, they're still residing at St. John's. So are they going to be transferred into this facility?
No, they'll stay where they are.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So tell me what the function of these priests are.
As far as?
What will they be doing at this location, since there's not a parish there?
Well, we have the chapel still there.
Right, but it's not a parish though, so I'm trying to understand
so
what they're going to be
They could
doing.
be helping with the ceremonies, and then also they could be doing different Currently, we do different speaking engagements every month there with the church and that. They could be providing services there. They could be providing retreats in the for-profit side of the business, and there for speakers and things like that, so.
So was this your guys' idea, or was this the
This was the
Archdiocese
ownership's,
of
no,
Detroit?
well, the ownership's working very closely with the Archdiocese of Detroit and trying to help some of the parishes also, so. There's a shortage of priests, obviously, in this.
That's why I'm asking the question,
Yeah.
how can you occupy so much space when we have a shortage of priests?
Well, that part of it is to keep them around so they stay in this area, so.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I'm confused. So would like some of the pastors from OLGC reside over there? That's why I was asking, is it like a rectory?
No, these are different, there's different, I don't know what the legal term is for the priests, but there's different organizations that come into this area to help the diocese. So I'm not necessarily, I don't know if they're gonna be there 2 years, 3 years, 6 months, I don't know, but it's not gonna be a turn around every day type thing at all. So these would be, there's different priests that come in from different countries to help dioceses around the country currently, so.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Any other questions for these individuals? John?
Yes, please. I had a brief conversation with you before the meeting, and the architect, you indicated nothing was going to go on there, and you would have no problem discussing and going through these plans with the supervisor-elect. We have a new supervisor a week from tomorrow, and then we could vote on this December 10th, and I would be happy to vote yes with the recommendation of the new supervisor. Now, I'm very I don't see any piece of paper in here from the Archdiocese. But let me tell you how good the Archdiocese is. The Archdiocese allows the chancel to be a performing sanctuary for the Michigan Philharmonic. Do you know how much the Archdiocese charges the Michigan Philharmonic? Nothing. Because it's a service to the community. So I'm deeply grateful for St. John's being known all across Michigan and its purpose. But I think we have a procedural problem here. I don't see a piece of paper here saying the Archdiocese is recommending this for clerics. And I'd like to see that piece of paper. And you agreed that there's no fire here, and if it's not necessary, then it's necessary not to do it. That you would be willing to sit down with Supervisor-elect Heisey, and we could vote on this December 10th.
Well, some of there is a fire under it because the golf course, especially now with the winter being as mild as it is, our golf course has stayed open. So we have to have this done and finished before we reopen in spring because there is going to be traffic going back and forth near the golf course. So there is a fire in that sense.
You intend to complete 2 6-bedroom homes by March?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Really?
They have the money.
That's impressive.
Well, is
So
it
there is a
legally
fire.
necessary, Laura, that we have an additional document here from the diocese?
The diocese is not involved with the property.
Yeah, the
Yeah, that's
diocese
what
is
I was-
not involved.
It's the foundation.
Yeah.
Kevin Bennett, does this matter fall under the Federal Religious Liberties Protection Act?
RLUIPA Act applies to prisoners and zoning issues only. After the Religious Freedom Restoration Act was found unconstitutional by the United States Supreme Court, Congress enacted RLUIPA and limited it to prisoner and land use cases. So it's conceivable that this could involve RLUIPA. I'd need to know more details in order to give you a more definitive answer.
I'm just asking.
It's not church property, correct?
It's not church property.
This is not a church property, so none of
Pulte.
those laws would apply because this is essentially private property.
Pulte's property that is being to the benefit of the church.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is their right.
If there's a zoning violation with respect to the construction of those properties.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no zoning.
All right, any other
Mr.
questions?
Mr.
What?
Supervisor.
Hold on.
Okay.
When, in 1983, for correction, this was a seminary. It didn't stop being a seminary until 1988. So when this was approved in 2004 and then recorded in the deed in 2005, there was no intention of having permanent residence in the PUD as part of that at the time, at that location. So you are moving towards permanent residency, other than Cardinal Maida, who was there at the time. So you appear to be moving towards having permanent residence on the property. Do you have other permanent residents on the property now?
No.
Other than the Maida brothers?
No. And I think the PUD in 2004, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, was when we were building the hotel in 2005.
Right.
That's when the amendment was done. That
Yeah,
was the
actually, Mr. Pulte came here and
Yep,
pitched it
I
himself.
was with them.
Okay.
Yep.
And you are the CEO of?
And co-founder of the management company.
All right, and then the Pulte Family Trust is, you report to them?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think we should postpone this just to be sure. And if we have that pleasure, I'll move to postpone it until December 10th.
To be sure of what?
To be sure we're doing the right thing here and have all of the boxes checked.
We are.
All right, so there's a motion on the table to postpone. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second, so Mr. Clerk, please take the roll. A yes,
What boxes do you need checked that are not checked?
Yeah, there isn't any.
there aren't any.
But we need to have a
Simple
review.
amendment.
No,
We'll sit down and talk to them,
Yeah.
and we'll have a
there isn't
review.
any.
So there are motions on the floor. A yes vote would be to postpone. So a no vote would be to proceed.
Hold, say it again.
A yes vote is to postpone, a no vote is to proceed.
Clerk Borba? No. Trustee Buckley?
No.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz?
No.
Supervisor Heisey?
No.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Motion
Okay.
fails.
All right, so we're going to proceed. Mr. Clerk, do you have a?
I have a motion. I move to adopt Resolution 2024-11-12-69, authorizing the approval of the Sixth Amendment to the Planned Unit Development Contract for St. John's Resort, 44045 5 Mile Road, contingent on administrative site plan approval and subject to any necessary modifications identified by the township trustee and township engineer.
Okay, motion's made by Clerk Vorba. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Buckley. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart.
No.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
No.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck with your project. Next is item F3. This is what's known as the Plymouth Flex PUD option. And do we have any representatives here tonight from Plymouth Flex? Got two people in the back. Come on up. We got some empty chairs up here. You guys can hang out up here. Do we also have people on the phone tonight regarding this item? Laura?
We should, yes.
Okay, so if you're on the phone regarding Plymouth Flex, please acknowledge.
They're not on the phone, Joe?
They're not? Okay. Well, we have some other individuals here anyway, so you guys are going to have to carry the water, okay? Let's start again like we did with Laura to tell us about this project.
Thank you, Supervisor Heisey. This application, Plymouth Flex, is located north of Schoolcraft Road. It abuts back to M14, the freeway, and it's directly east of the Sikh Temple, and then to the east of the subject site are a number of lots that are currently under development for Virginia Tile. The subject site itself is just over 6 acres in size. And in terms of the process, the applicant came before the Planning Commission earlier this year in March for their PUD option, those 8 criteria. And they have since made a couple adjustments to their plan and are here this evening for the second step in the first phase, the PUD option, approval or denial by the board.
So they've been approved by the Planning Commission?
For the PUD option, correct, yes. Just a little background on this use. The subject property is proposed to include a multi-building development that offers a unique land use in the township, one that's not neatly classified under any zoning designation currently, but it shares similar characteristics to other allowable uses. The personal warehouse concept offers extra storage capacity and the potential to function as an operational hub for a mix of entities such as small businesses, entrepreneurs, and artists. So these are flexible condominium spaces that can be purchased. They can be used for commercial, recreational, or employment purposes, adapting to the needs of the community. It is not residential. I'll read you a statement just briefly. This is described by the applicant and included in their project narrative, which is in your packet. The proposed project is a microflex development that allows for a mix of uses including office, research, showrooms, warehouse, light manufacturing, assembly, etc. They are for sale units, and the buildings are much higher quality than the inexpensive corrugated metal buildings that one would see at a storage facility. This is a premium product that can't simply be looked at as a number of storage units. And their brand is Personal Warehouse, which was detailed in length at the Planning Commission meeting back in March. And these are some examples of what the inside of the different condo units could look like. Again, not for living, it's not a residential, but they would have a restroom.
But the tenants purchase their space.
Correct. Yes, it's a condo development in that respect, yes.
I thought I read somewhere here that they could live there.
No. So there would be, as Ms. Hall, it would be a condominium, and there would be a master deed that the township would review, and, occupancy is prohibited.
So what kind of tenant would be in this facility?
Mark?
There are a lot. I have kind of a list here, if I can get my computer to boot up. Wasn't expecting to get to that so quickly. Let's see, some examples of uses are contractors, electricians, plumbers, roofers, utility contractors, design showrooms, fulfillment centers. So picture somebody selling wares on Amazon, eBay. The units average about 1,250 square feet. Some can be 2,000 square feet, some a little bit smaller than 1,000. Most of which will have a steel mezzanine. So what we find is, and we've developed these similar projects in Colorado and Texas, and what we find is that 3/4 of our buyers are small businesses. And most often what we see is that they're running the business upstairs, and downstairs is where they're storing their HVAC units and their plumbing pipes and their contracting supplies and things like that. There might be a small forklift zipping around downstairs while the sales and bookkeeping and things are going on upstairs. Gyms, small gyms for personal training, light automotive, like if somebody wants to lift a truck, say, or something like that, or vehicle wrapping, where they put the vinyl for their business advertising on their vans and cars and things like that, tinting and stuff like that for light vehicle modification.
What about vehicle maintenance? For example, a repair garage.
So, not really. So, one part of the deed, or one of the restrictions on the deed, is no excessive noise. And so that sort of
how do you define that?
Yeah, that's not always easy, but it's similar to the way a homeowners association would be run, in that you have rules that would outlaw excessive noise, and it's up to the association to decide what's excessive.
What about retail?
Retail would be allowed.
Retail will be allowed.
It's sort of, not in the sense.
So people will be coming and going on a retail volume.
They're not going to have like glass fronts. It's not going to be a place where people just walk around to go shopping, for example. However,
but I can come and pick up my order there.
Yeah,
oh gosh, could you pick up your order there? We haven't seen that that's what our small businesses are doing. They're doing their light manufacturing there. They're distributing them from there. I suppose if you bought something online and you said, hey, I'd like to save the shipping cost and pick it up there, I suppose you could probably do that.
If Plymouth Township authorized cannabis, will you allow distribution of cannabis out of there?
Absolutely not. No growing,
Even
no
if it's
selling.
authorized by Plymouth Township? In other
We
words,
just
when I say
wouldn't- we don't-
authorized,
we
we're
don't want
opted
it.
out for
Right.
now.
And again, we will have a master deed and bylaws that the township would be a part of the approval and review process. So those would be in the master deed.
What about animals and pets and livestock, things like that, raising of animals or puppy? I'm worried about like a puppy mill or chickens or something.
Chickens.
I'm worried, chickens worry me.
Sheep.
You know, we've never seen that. I mean, again, we have a list of things that we allow and don't allow typically. And if that's a concern, I mean, gosh, that's.
Okay, so I mean, I don't want an animal breeding operation in there or anything like that, or
Put that in the master deed.
dog
We would be
fighting.
comfortable
Seriously,
putting that
I
in the
mean,
master
you know, it
deed.
worries me. What about fire suppression? I mean, you're talking about a lot of different uses, so.
All units are sprinkled, if
Okay.
that's.
From the planning commission, my memory is that my impression was it would be low-traffic businesses if there was any retail. You're not gonna have, because there's not a ton of parking, you're not gonna have a kind of retail operation that would have,
That's correct.
dozens of
It's really,
customers.
it's not a place where you would go shopping.
Yeah.
But, again, you might, if you knew what you were there to get, I mean, it's open to the public, right?
But like the
So,
example you used was a showroom for a tile place.
yeah,
You're gonna have a couple of customers in there at any given time, but you're not gonna have 50.
that's exactly right.
Will you be vetting each applicant, and do they have to submit a business plan to you?
I mean, they're condominiums, so the units are for sale. And so when they
You have no
agree,
way to know what they're going to do in there.
Well, they'll have rules.
yeah, exactly. So they'll have to agree to the
Got
rules in the
CCRs.
master deed.
Right, and there will be a development agreement, and Ms. Hall can correct me if I'm wrong, but the next step is to work out that development agreement with the township to make sure that some of these items and concerns are addressed.
Will there be anything in regards to like subletting after they purchase them?
Well, it's not actually, it wouldn't be a sublet, but they do have the ability to rent their unit out if they own it.
Okay, so they could all be purchased and then rented out?
Yeah. But again, that's not what we find that people do, that owners do. They buy them generally for their small business. About 3/4 of our buyers do. The other quarter are personal users. Occasionally there are, we've submitted several pictures and it looked like a couple that were sort of more set up, as sort of loungy type spaces were chosen to show there, but there were a lot of other examples for business.
So like somebody working on their car, woodworking,
Absolutely, like just for personal, on their own car or making themselves, bookcases and stuff, absolutely.
Where is the closest one that we could look at?
The closest example I generally use is M1 Concourse. Yeah, and this is most analogous to that, but on 6 acres, we certainly don't have room for a racetrack. I think.
Although M1 Concourse has residential.
got a racetrack.
Is that allowed there? I didn't even know
It's
that.
kind of. I mean, they have a lot of parties there.
Oh, yeah. That's just not what we find people are.
Not here.
I think it's a different clientele. Oh, by the way, I want to mention that the pictures, the renderings that are shown here are not of this site. I just want to make that clear. What we're going to propose is very similar to that, but the layout is not, and the detailed appearance of these buildings is not exactly what we're proposing. We wanted to give an idea of the type of thing.
Okay, what is the range of selling price, and is the build out the responsibility
Yes,
of the owner?
of the buyer, very much so. There are a couple parts of that question. So these are units that have been built out by the purchaser, not by us. These are some the top lines of business there, doing some light manufacturing. So in general, we're going to provide the mezzanine We'll provide a bathroom that has sink, toilet, plumbed for a shower, but we're not building a shower. Buyers can do that if that's what they want. As far as sale prices, that's to be determined, but we're thinking probably in the range of 250 to 275 a square foot. So a square foot. So 1,000. You know, the math is simple. 1,000 square foot unit, $250,000. I do want to make clear that it's because they're individually owned. We're going to have an association. It's professionally managed, which we do. One of the partners in the development team manages a couple dozen properties like this. And so he's very well experienced in maintaining the property. And the goal is to, I mean, it's going to be very nice. There's going to be pride of ownership, and I mean, it's a high-end development.
I like the concept that it encourages someone who is serious about starting a new business, and this is how it's the substitute for the old days when you started in your garage.
Without a doubt.
Just a much more sophisticated. But I have some concerns that this is like anything goes in the neighborhood. I realize it's an industrial or a very deserted area. There aren't, probably the closest residential house is over a half-mile away, maybe more.
Probably. That's what we like, at least.
Well, I want to postpone this also so we can talk and see. Are you located here in the Detroit area?
I'm in Ann Arbor, yes.
You're in, okay.
So you've never sat down in person with trustee Kermey?
Yeah, well, they don't know who I am.
Page 229. Let me read to you verbatim, and I don't like to be read.
229 of...
Like my mother, 229. The option of the board is to table the agenda and discuss this project at a future meeting, such as December 10th. So you're giving us this choice.
I don't think that was written by
Page
us.
229.
No, they didn't write that.
No, they
You
didn't
can
write
read it
it.
for yourself.
That's our planner.
You've been approved by the planning commission,
But the
correct?
presumption is that Mr. Heisey hasn't done his due diligence and had his conversation, and we're here doing our part. There's no need to table it.
Okay.
Well, it's not the presumption, it's just,
It is
All
the
right,
presumption,
so
that's why it's in here.
where are we going from here?
it's a
Laura?
courtesy of the
Laura?
I do have
future
some
board,
further
to a future
slides.
board.
Hold on, I have a question. Laura?
I do have some further slides with information if I could finish the presentation.
Does it relate to this particular
Yes,
project?
yes.
Okay.
All right, I wanted to touch base on the Planning Commission's findings from their meeting earlier this year after their review.
What month and day was that?
It was March 27th.
And they should have been here at the table. The minutes.
March to November. Why?
There are a couple reasons. The first is that there were some outstanding items for the applicant to work through. Also, the development, as I mentioned, to the east is the site of Virginia Tile. And that site plan is currently in the development review process. And the applicant is looking at kind of taking advantage of these two developments running at the same time and doing something such as cross-access for the site, which would reduce the curb cuts and the amount of impervious surface that would be added in this area, which would be a benefit overall. So the applicant has been closely working with the Virginia Tile folks in order to kind of maximize these two developments.
That's another reason to postpone. Let's get that solidified. But I had asked to have the minutes here, and they're not here. And they should be in the future.
When did you
included.
ask that?
This morning.
Oh, well, who did you ask it of?
Laura Haw.
Oh, well.
Right.
Yesterday afternoon.
Yes, we talked on the phone yesterday. I thought you meant just a review of.
No, I wanted to see the minutes.
The minutes are online, I assume?
No, come on, we're not doing that. It's a completed staff package.
Public notice.
Okay,
so do you
So
have
I
a
recommend
motion?
postponing it. I'm sure we'll be able to work out the details. This has nothing to do with anything you've done or whatever, but it happens to be we're in a transition. There are some open issues. We want to make sure we're picking the right box and making the right decision, because this is a 100-year decision. That's how long those buildings will be there if you're doing a good
And
job.
there's no motion.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I move that we postpone this to a later meeting.
Okay, so motion's been made by trustee Kermy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Stewart. Sorry, boss. Okay, so like the other one, a yes is to postpone, a no is to continue. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, no. Trustee Buckley,
No.
trustee Kermy,
Yes.
trustee Dorchevitz,
Yes.
trustee Heisey, Supervisor Heisey,
No.
trustee Stewart.
Yes.
So we have,
A tie.
it's a tie,
it's
so,
not
so the motion fails.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? Mr. Clerk, do you have
Now,
any?
remember, if
anything to
you,
say?
when you vote now, if we have a tie, it's not approved.
All righty, Mr. Clerk, do you have the motion?
Yes, I move to adopt Resolution 2024-11-12-70, authorizing approval of the planned unit development option for the Plymouth Flex project on Schoolcraft Road as unanimously recommended by the Planning Commission.
Okay, motion by clerk, well,
I have a question. So what happens if this motion fails? What does it do to the process?
Come back.
Well, they need a decision by some motion either way, which is what was outlined in the board packet, is just all of the options available, but the recommendation is to approve it.
Right, but what if we vote to not approve it? What does that do to the applicant?
If the project is denied tonight,
Yeah,
then they would be starting over from scratch on this development.
they lose the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay.
They
But
would
if
not
it's
have
not
to.
necessary, then it's necessary not to do it.
okay, so we have a motion, motion's been made by
don't
Clerk
have to
Borba.
wait
Is there
a
a
year.
second?
Second.
Second by trustee Buckley. Okay, then, Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart,
Tell me again, because
This is
I
a
want you
motion
to
to
put it on
approve,
record.
this is a motion to approve the PUD.
No.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy,
No.
trustee Buckley,
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Good luck.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that if we had turned them down, they would be going back to scratch for no good reason. This has been.
We can work things out in
Agreed.
a proper way.
Okay, okay.
This is
matters
this is
resolved.
Postponing
Thank you.
doesn't mean, postpone, if you'd have done a postpone, they wouldn't have to come back for a year.
This
Okay,
is
everybody.
proper.
Okay,
It's
everybody,
called
thank you.
Proper management and leadership.
All
This
righty,
is
thank you.
proper.
Okay, item F4 is the Hillside Overlook PUD, sometimes referred to as the Courthouse Grill Project. Is there anybody here from that? All right, we got two gentlemen here, but let's again have Laura kick us off with what has brought us to this point tonight.
Okay, thank you. Yes, this project has a long and rich history with the Planning Commission, the Board of Trustees, and the Township's Brownfield Redevelopment Authority. So I'll kind of give a recap of where we've been. So this project is 3+ acres on the south side of Plymouth Road there. It abuts Hines Park to the south. It is the site of the former Courthouse Grill, which has been demolished. To the east is the court building, and to the north, which this is an older GIS mapping, to the north are the ravines, which is a mix of townhomes that are condos and apartments. And then just to the northwest there would be the intersection of Plymouth Road and Haggerty Road and the Burroughs Building and all that. And to the west, further down Plymouth Road, of course, we have the Starkweather Lofts and getting into Old Town. So this site is very walkable as it relates to a regional recreational asset, Hines County Park, and both downtown Plymouth and Old Village. And also, a variety of jobs at the Burroughs Building and lot performance or employment opportunities.
I would also point out, that's a very old GIS map because we have
It is.
condos and apartments across the street now that have been there for quite some time.
Right, the ravine.
That have been there for probably 10, at least 10 years.
At least 10 years.
Yeah, this was just to show the
Yeah, no, I get it, but, you know,
original courthouse building.
yeah.
These are just some building elevations, and we can come back to the full package, but it is a 4-story building that's proposed there with 109 units. And in terms of where we've been on this project, so they acquired their PUD option recommended by the Planning Commission to this board. Even though this was back in 2001, December of 2021, excuse me, to almost 2022, this board composition was the same minus Trustee Buckley. So this is a project that everyone is familiar with. And at that time, when the PUD option was evaluated, it was for 120 units and 6 stories, and it was unanimously approved by this board and the Planning Commission. Since the PUD option with those 8 criteria was approved, it then went through the site plan development review period and also went to, so that was with the Planning Commission, but it also went to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority because they sought a brownfield plan on this site for its contamination and also some partnership with Eagle, the state authority, for a grant and loan. So that was approved in 2023 by the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority, and then this board also reviewed it in 2023 and approved that brownfield plan for it, which allowed the demolition of the courthouse grill to happen and for the applicant to really finalize their site plan. So more recently, the applicant received their site plan approval last year, last December. This was included in the minutes of that meeting, but this just does a comparison to what was originally approved by the board for 120 units, taken down to 111 units, and some of those other key changes. So the floor, the number of floors, remember I said it was started with 6 floors. With the reduction in units and a little bit of change to the configuration of the footprint, the 5th floor was removed, and then now 4 stories is proposed, as you saw in those elevations.
So that's a big change. We chopped off a floor.
We did,
Since
yes.
the last time we've reviewed this.
Correct. Yep, and a reduction in the number of units. And then this is from the Planning Commission.
Who negotiated the downsizing? I think the supervisor should be doing that job. Who negotiated the downsizing?
Well, the applicant proposed a revised plan to the
So they
township.
chose to do it on their own.
Yes.
Thank you.
This
It was
is
an economic decision.
Yeah, we're in a construction recession, and we have been for the last several years.
This is just a summary from the meeting minutes of December 2023, moved by Commissioner Berry and supported by Dershowitz. It was unanimous to recommend this project to the board with several minor conditions that needed to be addressed administratively, which have been some dumpster and screening adjustments for truck access, a couple landscaping items, and some fencing details. There is a small dog park proposed for the unit tenants, and then that the applicant work with the township on a historical marker in conjunction with the Historic District Commission that will be placed outside along Plymouth Road.
Okay.
Following construction.
And Laura, I know we've been approached by the 35th District Court leadership across the street, and I know that they have requested some assistance with the developer on either tinted windows or some other kind of enhanced line of sight enhancements to the 35th District Court building.
Yes.
Just to prevent people from looking inside or doing something illegal.
Both the city and the court were involved in
Correct.
that process. I think that now that the project has lost 2 floors, 2 stories, and they no longer have the rooftop amenities that were originally proposed, they've located that on the 1st floor as still amenities to residents, but it's not outside or on exterior of the building, that those concerns have been quelled a bit.
Okay, just to make sure, just keep in touch with the court and with the city, because you are correct, it is the city. The city surrounds this site virtually on all sides, so we have to work with the court and the city on that, any adverse impact that may occur. But I think I agree that with the smaller design, I don't think those issues are as pronounced as they were before.
So they eliminated the rooftop gathering
Yes.
area?
So they eliminated that rooftop and 2 floors
Yes.
from the original concept. The courthouse building is in the township, so I'm trying to understand what the city is doing?
No, the courthouse building is in the city.
Courthouse is in the
35th
city.
District Court's in the city, and the park around there and the
Okay, right near the
cemetery.
entrance to the
So,
cemetery.
yeah, I don't have my pointer with me,
Yeah,
but
I
you know,
see.
you can
Yep,
see it all.
I see it,
That was cut out years ago so they could sell liquor.
yeah.
Because the city was dry, I think?
Yes,
The
the
city
city was
was
dry.
dry and we were not.
Can't imagine
And I'm
that.
dry right now. I'd like to get to
So are the
Anything
applicants
but.
here?
Yeah, we do have some representatives here, so we've heard quite a bit here tonight. Just introduce yourselves and try to keep it brief. Gentlemen?
Good evening, Board. My name is Anthony Paisano. I am the attorney for the applicant and the attorney on this project, but I'm actually here more as a spokesperson for Kevin Kovacevich, who had a personal conflict, and so I'm stepping in for him and answering any questions to the extent I can.
Okay.
And I'm Ray Phillips with Krieger Klatt Architects.
All right, so at this point, do we have any questions for these gentlemen?
So what is the status of the loan, the $1 million loan that Plymouth Township has guaranteed for your client?
Thank you. We have not exercised any of our rights to draw from that loan until such time we have site plan approval. It just economically would not make sense. We came out of pocket $100,000 to do the demolition. And we've used some funds towards soil sampling, I believe, but nothing significant.
So that came out of loan proceeds?
No, the demolition came out of my client's pocket.
Okay. So when do you intend to break ground?
Site plan. Once we get site plan approval, and obviously we have our PUD agreement in place, then our next step is to start utilizing those funds and then moving forward with our development.
Well, the soil remediation came out of the grant money.
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I misunderstood the question. I thought
it was the
No,
loan.
you're receiving a $2 million grant from the state of Michigan for the environmental cleanup.
That is correct.
And that's a pass-through that's coming through the township.
That's right.
Plus, you're also in our Brownfield Redevelopment Authority plan, so you'll be benefiting from that as well,
That is
from the anticipated tax capture.
So tonight, we're voting on the change of the number of units?
Tonight, the final step is to approve the PUD contract, which one of the exhibits to the PUD contract, just like the St. John Resort, is that final site plan that would have 109 units, yes. That's been approved by the Planning Commission.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant or for Laura? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Clerk.
I move to adopt Resolution 2024-11-12-71, authorizing the approval of the planned unit development contract for the Hillside Outlook Residential PUD as recommended by the Planning Commission.
Motion is made by Clerk Forva. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Treasurer Dorshevitz. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
May I interject here?
Who?
You might want to add to the motion based upon, or subject to township attorney
Oh, yeah.
final review.
Subject to the township attorney's approval.
Of the final contract?
Yes.
Yes, of the final contract.
All right.
That was amended, so he needs to second that amendment?
Bob
I'll
is okay
second
with
the
that?
amendment.
Okay, so the amendment has been made and seconded, and Mr. Clerk can take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Treasurer Dorshevitz?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck with your project. Okay, next up is item F5. This is Police Department purchase of 40 prep radios and associated accessories. I would like, at this time, like Chief Conley to come forward and just tell us a little bit of the history behind this, because it's very good news. So come on, or, no,
You can bring the
it's
police
actually
one.
Chief, it's actually Chief, I want Chief Conley to do it, because you know the backstory. Don't wave.
Just give his part. This is a this is both police and fire.
Yeah, because they're tied together, but we will all have a chance to tell our story.
So will you pass the radio around, please?
So Chief Conley, we made a big deal about these radios a few months ago when we had the public meeting regarding the police and fire budget. And at that time, it looked pretty bleak because we were looking at possibly $600,000 for new radios, which we could not afford.
Correct.
And so thanks to your good offices, we came across some
Yeah, I was able to
terrific-
basically take a $300,000 cost, and we're getting it for $30,000.
Okay.
So basically, I'm saving the townships $270,000.
All right.
Good job.
Thank you. So we're gonna be casting several different votes here tonight, one to purchase the radios, one to do the matching funds, and then hopefully to repurpose some previously budgeted money to complete the sale. So this is all very, very good news. And it certainly will be a relief for the budget. So that being said, thank you to our consultants as well.
1 Adam 12?
Does it bring you back to
Oh,
the
it
old?
brings me back to
the old.
We don't use 10 codes anymore.
To the old cop days? I could call in there you go. Have you ever seen it?
Oh.
What is
That's
it,
basically, the fire radio is very similar. That's actually not the radio we're gonna be, are you getting the next?
So that's the carryover radio.
Yeah, in 70s, yeah, we're getting them next. So our radio will be slightly different. It's got a few more bells and whistles on it. Has a little more capability to it. It's transitioning a radio almost into a cell phone the way it's controlled and stuff, which for younger firefighters might be a better option. But the fire radio is hardened because we take it into immediately dangerous to life and health atmospheres, i.e. a structure fire, or we might be standing on the side of a cement truck on the side of the road and you drop your radio through the window all the way down to the concrete. Can't say I haven't done that. And just issues like that. Our job is a very rough job, and our stuff needs to be kind of a little bit harder because of that.
Okay. Chief Nytel, if you could come forward and
Tell us what the acronym AFG stands for.
Assistance to Firefighters Grant.
And what is that?
It's a federal grant that we try to get in on every year for several different items. And it's a very rigorous selection process done through, AFG is the founder, it's through FEMA. And this is what we got. And we've submitted several grants. There's another big life pack grant for our heart monitors. We did not get that one. There's a grant for the air packs. I'm not sure if when we got our air packs in 2017, those were on a grant or not, but it's similar to the SAFER grant, but not for people.
So who actually wrote this? Was it Northville Township?
Northville Township wrote the grant. We were on theirs. We wrote a grant for the heart monitors. We didn't get that one. There's several different, every department in the area, we host a grant. We hosted the life packs. Northville Township hosted the radios, the city hosted something else, I don't remember what it was off the top of my head. And you're kind of gonna, by bringing the communities together like that, you bring the population up, and the grant will do more good for more people. So you have a much better chance of getting it because of that. So that's what happens.
Okay, Chief Nytel, do you have anything else to add?
I wish I had better news on the police side, but we also attempted grants, all that we could find. We also were on the Conference of Western Wayne grant, similar to Chief Connolly's grant, but we did not get any funds on that grant. So.
But the good news is, gentlemen, that we were able to, that half of this project is being funded with the grant, and that allows us to free up and designate money that I presume we are doing tonight to make up the difference, and then we'll buy all the new radios for both police and fire.
That is correct. The prep radios that we currently have are 10 years old. They are at their life expectancy. The prep radios are no longer serviceable. Motorola will not service those prep radios. So we have the agreement that's in the packet, and we're expecting a 10-year life from these Motorola's. Motorola is the industry standard. Every police agency around here, except for one that we found, has Motorola radios. These are accessible to, we have event channels that we can communicate with the state police, any other jurisdiction in the area. They're very functionable. The APX N70
it was not the next, that the fire department went, this is the one below that, but we felt that it had all of the capabilities that we need to be successful in our operations.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what does the term or acronym PrEP mean?
It's a portable radio, so as opposed to a car radio, I'm sorry, it's police lingo, but a PrEP radio would be a radio that you would take out on the street every day. Of the equipment that we carry, communication is for officer safety, for citizen safety, it's one of the most important things that we have. So having a radio, my father, when he worked, he had to go to the call boxes. So that was a long time ago in the city of Detroit. But with PrEP radios, our officers can communicate with each other. If they need assistance, we need assistance for civilians, et cetera. So.
It actually stands for Portable Radio Equipped Police. And I got that from a video I watched on YouTube from Detroit Police Department from 1964 or something like that. So that's what the actual acronym stands for.
So,
we use it universally.
All right, so the mic that's near your the right side of your face, is it connected to the radio?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
wirelessly?
No, there's a wire.
There is a wire.
There's a wire
A hard
attached.
connection.
Yeah, I have it on here because it's right next to my ear, so it's easier. We also, as part of this package, we have for all the officers earpieces, so that they could have it connected in an earpiece, so they could only hear. So if they're out talking to, say, a suspect or something like that, there could be communication that they could hear. They could still talk into
They could take direction from the dispatch?
Correct,
in
or
their
another
ear.
officer or another agency.
Now, that's an option that you have to.
That's an option, and we have that in this package, so that every one of our officers would have the option to use that earpiece. Yeah.
Well, two more questions.
Yes, sir.
One is, where are they assembled? What country?
They are assembled in Elgin, Illinois.
All right.
In the United States, yeah. The repair, if we have any service, there's Richardson, Texas it depends on what it needs to be serviced. And then there's one area that services in Mexico too. So it depends on what is wrong with the radio to where they send it.
What is the planned delivery date?
So this package, if you look on the third column from the right, there's percentages taken off. One of the advantages that we had in pulling this project together, both police and fire, is that we had a reduction, and it was very significant, between 25 and 35% off if we ordered them together. I believe it was February, March.
I think it was, yeah.
It was early
25.
25. I believe February,
First
March
quarter
is the
sometime.
earliest.
So you will use that in your planning. If you have a failure of some of the existing, you're not going to spend money to repair them because you're anticipating in March getting new ones.
To answer your question, yes, because they will not repair them. So if we have a radio go down, we're -1 radius. We have extra ones. There's extra ones built in here for service in case we have ones that go down or we have a special event. But yeah, if one goes down, then we're down one.
So to take care of those between now and March 31st.
I can actually add to that. So my PrEP radio that I'm using currently is actually retired Sergeant Ruppard's, because my radio went down. There was a problem with the circuit board, or I'm not a radio guy. I'm not exactly sure what was wrong with it, something electronic, and it's not serviceable. They will not fix it. So we have a dead radio, and I'm using one of the retired guys' radios.
So how are you going to dispose of the old radios? Does Motorola take them back and recycle them, or are we going to throw them in the trash bin?
Well, for our radios, we will be keeping them in a reserve status until they do eventually die. I mean, they are working now, but once they don't work anymore, then we'll just recycle them through electronics recycle.
Another important piece to this is the Michigan Public Safety Communications System, MPSCS, is mandating as of March of 2023 that these radios have to be encrypted. So these new radios will have the encryption that we need to be consistent to what the mandates are for to be able to use that. And that comes from the FBI through the state police to us. So if we get audited,
people to use these radios, or it's just a follow-on from the current? In other words, do we have to have a training session? Or send people away for training?
No. There'll be sheets that they can go through. It's like any other piece of equipment. Once you learn how to use it. But yeah, it'll be self-explanatory.
They'll be all in-house training.
Okay, any other questions for the chiefs while they're up here?
So I move, how do you want to do this? It's going to be two different,
Nope, no, we're going to do item F5 first, and then,
F5
and then,
first, okay.
and then 6.
I move to approve resolution number 2024-11-12-72, authorizing the Plymouth Township Police Department to purchase 40 prep radios with accessories not to exceed $313,000 out of the General Fund Police Department Capital Outlay Account, and authorizing the Finance Director to appropriate fund balance in the amount of up to $313,000 to the Police Department Capital Outlay Account to make the purchase.
Second.
Okay, motion made by trustee Kermy, seconded by clerk Vorba. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, so item F6, I think we've talked about that. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't know if the chiefs...
I'll make the motion.
Okay, good.
Let me find it here.
I'll be glad.
Pardon? I'll make it, you can second it. I move that the Board of Trustees does hereby adopt Resolution 2024-11-12-73 to participate in the AFG grant for the purpose of buying new fire department portable radios and accessories for a cost not to exceed $30,978, and authorize the supervisor and clerk to sign on behalf of the township.
Okay, motion's made by trustee Kermy. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by treasurer Dorchevitz. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Motion carries.
Terrific, thank you. Item F7 is a collective bargaining agreement with Police Officers Association of Michigan, representing our public safety, our dispatchers. And this is a contract for a term beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2028. This agreement has been ratified by the union, and I included a tentative a recommended agreement list for the board's review, and a hard copy, a red line edition is online, and a copy of that is available in the clerk's office. So Chief Nightel or Cindy Feld, do you want to just real quick?
So give us a short summary.
We started, the union approached the township, started negotiations in, I believe, September, which is similar to the last negotiations. Kyle Spalding is here to represent the union, and through the negotiations, it was 100% approval through the union. Anything to add, Director?
This contract shows kind of consistent raises with what we've seen in the township, actually just slightly lower than some of the previous contracts, and then some really minor language adjustments that come with a little bit of financial difference, but some really not very interesting changes to this contract this time around.
Humor me, what is the top one that you would say of these minor changes?
The training officer, so that one right in the middle of the screen there, we're really interested for keeping people working for our department and to be attracting good candidates. We want to make sure that when they take on additional responsibilities, like training our new people, that they're compensated appropriately. So we added a $250 bonus for when they, in a year where they train at least one trainee, and they are present for every shift that they're assigned to, then they'll get a bonus on top of that.
As with all of our public safety contracts right now, it's about attracting and retaining good people. And it's an incredibly competitive environment right now. And we are competing against our neighboring communities that frankly are offering, in most cases, more than what we offer, and have more generous retirement and benefit packages. Plus, we're also competing with the private sector. And these are difficult jobs, and lives are on the line literally every day. and it's a stressful job, and it's, people can make a lot more in other areas of work with a lot less stress. So we appreciate you guys and the work that you do for us. And I think this contract is fair, and certainly would recommend its approval.
So what date do you have to be on board to collect the $3,000 signing bonus?
The contract takes effect on January 1st of 2025, and we've talked with the union about this, and that's when the signing bonus would be triggered.
So you have
The
to
whole
be
contract.
employed by December 31 in order to get the bonus?
Yeah, we're not hiring anybody between now and then.
Let's say you did.
So- Well, but
So December 31?
They would have to be employed when the new contract goes into effect, which is January 1st. Because there's no language in our current contract regarding that bonus.
What is this contract gonna cost over 4 years?
I did
5
provide
years?
that information to you via email a few weeks ago. There was a chart that we provided. Okay, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the collective bargaining agreement with Police Officers Association of Michigan Dispatchers PSAs for a term beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2028. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Clerk Vorba. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Supervisor Heising?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item F8 is fiscal year 2014 budget adjustments. Liz is going to be up on the, she's going to be at the table there? Okay, cool. Do you have your charts for us?
Do I need to switch you up there?
I don't think so.
I don't have any
have a computer?
slides prepared. I'm going to talk
Okay.
Talk it through.
from
Okay,
the,
so Bob, you're going to have
the
to
documents in the board.
bring up her item F8, please.
Okay. All right, so, on page 386 of the board packet, that, starts with the memo, which kind of summarizes everything. There we go. Okay. So in your packet this evening, of course, you'll have all the detail by account number as is normally provided. This memo just kind of summarizes the total effect on the budget. And I've separated the figures between the governmental funds and, special revenue funds, and have kept them separate from the proprietary funds. There's a couple of pretty significant numbers in there, so I felt it was better to break it down a little bit for you. So, going through and looking at all the budget items, tonight I am asking you to recognize a total of, actually, a reduction of revenue of $435,500. And the two pieces that make that number up are $527,800 in the governmental, the component units, and the special revenue funds. And then the proprietary fund, which is water and sewer, there's a revenue cancellation that I am requesting in the amount of $963,300.
Tell me about that. Educate me. What is it?
So,
Is it a revenue shortfall or?
no, the main item there that's affecting that is, if you recall, we were billing residents the Watua waste fee for many years.
You mean the bond payoff, or is it?
Yeah, you're talking about the bond payoff.
Which happened in August of 2023?
Yes. So we stopped charging that waste fee to residents on their water bills.
Why,
What's
but that was projected as part of 2024 a revenue stream, even though we knew the bonds were being paid off?
When the budget was developed, I believe that budget was complete right around or just before the time that we stopped billing this item.
It was built in ahead of time.
Yeah.
But we didn't make the correction when we approved the budget in November of 2023?
We didn't pay it. When did we pay it? The Watuah?
August of 2023.
Was that the end of it?
Yeah.
When did we book it, though?
When do we book it?
And then was that the Yucca thing, too?
No, Yucca was a separate issue. Remember, it was, if you had it was $15.69
Yeah.
every quarter?
This is saying that the water and sewer fund revenue is $963,000 less than we thought it was gonna be. Is that what this is saying?
Yes.
The reason for that was,
Is this the sewer line?
yeah, this is something else.
No, we're talking revenues right now.
Because I know we have to do a sewer line.
Yeah.
But that's an expenditure, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
different.
So 963,300. Tentatively, we think it's the adjustment that we overestimated revenue because of the Watuah for a Yucca sewer expansion. Bonds were paid off they were paid off in June of 2023, and the last billing, I think, might have happened in August
Or September.
of 2023.
Well, okay.
I'm confused. I don't know why we're doing it now, but it means that we maybe missed it in 2024. When we approved the budget about a year ago today.
But
Help me out. I mean, I don't know. I'm not smart enough. I don't have them all in my
It
head.
wasn't fully closed. I'm just wondering if it was fully closed out at that
It
point.
may not have been closed out yet because she didn't start till end of September.
You started in September 2023?
Yep.
It may not have been.
So this was,
It
I
was
think,
not, it
this
was
was
not on
cooked in.
anyone's radar.
It wasn't
Right away.
reconciled yet? I mean, did the auditors catch this, or?
Well, no, it was in the audit because it was part of the budget.
Okay.
So it was okay. Now we're saying it didn't happen, so you gotta pull it out.
And they were auditing 2023 figures.
Got it, no, I understand now.
So it wasn't,
Yeah, it's,
it wasn't fully,
right,
you know, it wasn't really an issue at that point in time,
okay.
so.
All right, let's just kind of move on then.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what that is.
Yep,
Okay, and the 527,800?
yep. You can find, all the detail that makes up those figures are going to be on pages, that's the revenue side. 394 and 395. 394 through 396 is where you're going to see all of the detail that makes up those totals that we're looking at on the memo.
These are all the pieces that make up that amount.
Yes, yes. So just wanted to mention real quick a couple of them. On the general fund revenues, we've got an additional $106,000 for the special election reimbursement. We just received quite a bit of money for that, and I had to adjust the budget upwards by $106,000. So that
So
was,
that 178 you required from the state of Michigan, help me out where that went or what that offset? Because that means that we got some revenue to offset an expense.
yep. Mainly in the elections department with wages, overtime, equipment, things like that.
So that means we have an extra 178,000 in the clerk's budget that we didn't anticipate getting.
Well, in revenues, but it's been spent.
It's been spent.
We were reimbursed.
But we were
Yeah.
reimbursed by the state. It's just gonna come into
Right, but we
the,
didn't, which means though, the cash in the end did not flow out of here. It flew out, it flowed out and then it's been reimbursed. So-
Yes.
So the budget has more money in it than you would normally anticipate at this time of the year. So I'm trying to understand the 178,000.
Came to us from the state.
Right.
So is it in an account right now, or a bucket, or how do you account for
It's its
that?
own revenue account. Yep. And you
My
can.
point, let's cut to the chase. I don't want that money spent because it turns out that it's a windfall of 178,800 that we didn't anticipate getting.
I think it goes, I get a commission on it or something.
Finder's fee.
No, it's not, there's nothing to be spent on now.
Yeah.
It's already been spent, it's just been given back.
This
Right.
relates to the February election.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna get money from the August election and this election from the
Right.
state.
So your budget is going to be, when we planned your budget, we anticipated that we would absorb all of this. We would be paying. So
Well,
now
yeah.
we're being reimbursed. So I want to ensure that that money maybe should go back to the general fund.
That's
It's
where
in
it's
the
gonna
general
go.
fund.
That's where it goes.
It's in the general fund.
Yeah, that's where it goes. And we're gonna get money in, for the August, for the early voting center, and we're gonna get money for the early voting center, for all the early voting, costs in November. I
You
expect
still
to
have
get that
August and November as a potential opportunity
to
to
recoup some
recover.
money, recoup some money.
Okay, so, on the expenditure side, the total amount of appropriations across all the funds that I'm asking for tonight is $1,455,300. And again, I'm breaking that out in between, the proprietary funds and all the other funds because of the size of the number. So the governmental component units and the special revenue funds comprise 468,000 of that. And the big adjustment is in the water and sewer fund for 986,500. And if we look at page 392 of your packet, you can see that I put, most of that is due to that 5-mile sewer project
Okay.
that they have asked us for our portion of the funding.
Right.
Have you
So-
received an invoice from Northville Township yet?
Yes, we did, a couple of weeks ago.
How much was it for?
It was 913,000 and some change.
And when do you anticipate dispersing the funds to them?
Would that have been paid already? Tomorrow, yeah.
So, Bob,
The
you're
900
gonna see $1
and,
million fly out of the bank account.
900, the 963,000, I'm not sure, I'm trying to look at this line item budget, and, in the charge, the Watuwa waste fee, it was 232,000, in the 24, or 23, it was, 822. 24, it went to 232, 24 amended, 1.5 million, and 25, 236,000. That's where the 900,000 is, and that's.
Are you on a
I
certain
don't know
page?
I'm on, page 205.
205.
205. Wait a minute.
205.
No, I'm sorry, 205, how
Yeah,
can
I
that
went
be? It's
back
too
up.
low of a number.
I went back up into the budget.
Oh, you went back up into the budget, okay, I'm sorry.
So go by that again?
Look on this item right here, charge for Watuwa waste fee. It bounced all over the place, and it's 1.5 million this year when it was projected to be 232,000. That's, $1.1 million difference. I don't know what that means. Something we gotta look at.
So do we want to wait on this one item and look at it for the next meeting?
What's the number on this one? Liz, is there a number associated with this? I see you have numbered 1 through 11. Can we approve this minus one of these numerical line items that you have in your memo, or no? Doesn't work that way?
I guess we could.
Well,
$963,900. It's 205.
This wasn't the look-back correction, was it? It wasn't that much money.
No.
When they had to do, Liz, when Tua did the look-back correction, how much was that? Do you remember?
$450,000?
Yeah, it wasn't 900.
That's where they were
Yes.
undercharging us for years and then
Yeah.
decided to take 2 years.
Right.
And we agreed to pay for the 2 years of the undercharging
Correct.
for disposal fee. But that is not the bond fee, so that's why I'm totally confused.
Yeah, because if you look at this line, this bottom line, the total revenues, 23 was 14.8 million, 24 budget was 14.2.
So when you're seeing 23 of the 822.9 and then projected activity, that's what's been spent out to date?
Projected activity is just a projection.
Okay.
It most of the time will match year-to-date spending, but not always.
But look at our bottom line here, total revenues went from 14.8 to
14.2.
14.2 budgeted to 15.6 projected, back down next year to 14.3, 14.7. That, I think there's something in that number there that is maybe.
So we won't be able to solve it tonight, so I recommend that we take that item out so that we make sure we do the right thing. We can do it on December 10th.
and I agree with you on that, Chuck, but wait, I'm trying to find out if we're gonna take something out, what is it that we are taking out? Is there a number that I can use?
Line 11, is it?
Is it line 11?
Up on the screen now, line 11.
It sounds like it is.
Well, we can do this whole,
I can make a motion to adopt the whole thing minus item number 11.
Well, Liz, we gotta do, I wanna do
And then bring it
what's-
back later.
Yeah, what's gonna make it proper and, proper for you and to meet the law, that we don't have budgets that are running a deficit. So, can we survive until December 10th?
I think the whole thing can survive till the 10th.
The water and sewer fund is
Yeah.
flush.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
pun intended.
Yeah, there's no deficit there.
So we could do this whole thing on the 10th, is what I would suggest.
Even these other ones?
Yeah, everything.
Well, Liz, are you sure? Because
We're
I
not gonna
don't, I
be
don't want to
underwater.
have the auditors come back and say, you ran a deficit for more than, how many days are we allowed? No, you're not allowed to run a deficit at all, right?
No, but
You
we
can
do
use
as long as you
fund
do it
It's not
balance.
a deficit situation. It's just a matter of, you want to clarify that issue. We can adopt the whole thing tonight minus item 11, or we can move to
That's
table
fine.
this. We can move to table this until December 10th.
That's my suggestion.
What
What's
do
your
you want to
suggestion?
do, Liz?
Do the whole thing tonight minus item 11?
I would prefer that,
Because that number might change,
yes.
and then we'll have to change it anyway. So I think we're answering our own question.
Okay.
All right, do we have any other questions for Liz at this point? So let me do this. So I move that the Plymouth Township Board of Trustees hereby adopt Resolution 2024-11-1274, authorizing various 2024 budget amendments as outlined and attached, minus item 11 in the Finance Director's Budget Amendments Cover Memo dated November 12th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Stewart. So, Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart? Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Okay,
Supervisor Heising?
yes,
Motion carries.
excellent, thank you. All right, item F9 is a resolution to unencumber portions of previously encumbered fund balance amounts for various capital improvement projects. So this is probably not as difficult to explain, I think, as the last one, because those are always tricky. You may recall that we, in 2023, set aside money for police and dispatch, fire, recreation, township buildings, and election compliance. And we encumbered that for a variety of financial and strategic reasons at that time. Most of those are now no longer relevant to our administration. So at this time, we are recommending that the following previously committed fund balances be unencumbered and placed into unassigned fund balance. So that's $500,000 for police and dispatch. No, we just set that money aside.
It was just
Because
setting
we
aside.
were setting it aside for strategic and financial budgeting reasons.
No.
We have not used it, but I believe we are using it now for the radios, and that's where we're getting the radio money. So again, $500,000 for fire, that's going to be unencumbered. $200,000 for election compliance, which is now unencumbered. So we are freeing up $1.2 million from our fund balance, because we've had these discussions before about encumbered versus unencumbered. So we are unencumbering this money, and we are holding on and still encumbering the money for recreation and for township buildings.
Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Clerk.
I move to approve that the Plymouth Township Board of Trustees hereby adopt Resolution 2024-11-12-75, authorizing the finance director or designee to unencumber the committed funds balances as outlined in the attached.
Motion is made by Clerk Vorva. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Buckley. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Supervisor Heisey?
Yes.
Treasurer Dorchevitz?
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much. Item F is board comments. We'll start with Mr. Stewart.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve. We haven't had a board meeting since our election a week ago. I think you pretty well know that I enjoy this job. We need to go onward and forward. We need to go onward and forward. I live in a world of reality. I'm relaxing and delighted that we're going to have two treasurers on this board, namely Mr. Clinton and Mr. Dorchevitz. So we're going to have fiscal responsibility. We're going to have fiscal responsibility, and I'm going to be able to relax, because the bottom line of every business decision is whether it's legal or not, and that's where I come in as a lawyer, practicing lawyer. But I live in a world of reality. I've been here 2.5 hours without a break, and I want to invite each and every one of you a week from tomorrow at 11:30 for the swearing in of the officers of Plymouth Township. Do you know what's happening all across Michigan? 1,242 townships will be swearing in their officers November 20th, 2024. 92% of all land mass in Michigan is covered and governed by a township form of government. Certainly that's not true here in Wayne County with big cities like Detroit, Dearborn, Taylor, Livonia. But 92% of all land mass in Michigan is governed by the township form of government. Being the practical guy I am, a great guy, maybe some of you know him, Chief Conley, retired firefighter, Mike Evans got a hold of me. He says, Stuart, what's with this tattered, serrated flag at Township Park? So, Wade Myers and I, two Eagle Scouts, we folded up a new flag. I'm looking to one of you gentlemen to hoist the flag there, maybe even as early as tomorrow. Once again, I want to invite you to the swearing-in ceremony a week from tomorrow. I know my wife is taken off from 11 to 12 o'clock. And it's a punch and cookie, donuts, no alcohol. Let me conclude with what I said the other night at the Lake Point Homeowners Association meeting. This is Plymouth Township, Michigan. We work together, we build our community, our future is bright, and we get to live here. Thank you very much and good night.
Okay, trustee Buckley.
Yeah, just piggybacking on what John said, just very thankful, grateful to have been elected by the citizens for this job. I'm looking forward to continuing on for the next 4 years. In one of our last meetings, we made some crucial decisions about our firefighters, and I just wanted to, as we move in with this new board, to emphasize and illuminate our need for safety in our township. Just this past month, we had 2 major vehicle accidents on M14. Which resulted, at least one of them, in a fatality. And you guys have to know and understand that while they were working on that, there was nobody back in the firehouse, okay? And so I just want to clarify and help you to understand what's really going on in the township. It's not because we want to raise your taxes, it's because we want to be there for you in your time of need. Okay. Also, I wanted to make you guys aware and point out, if you didn't know, something really cool happened October 26th, I believe. President-elect Trump stayed right here in Plymouth Township at the St. John's Resort, the same people that were just here. How exciting is that? A. B, you know what it points to? It points to how awesome and exceptional Plymouth Township is. And it's in great part to the legacy of this man right here, Supervisor Heisey. This President-elect Trump could have picked any place else to stay during his campaign stop in Novi. You can roll your eyes all you want, but it's true. And for that, I thank you, sir, for your tenure here in Plymouth Township, and I wish you all the best of luck in your next endeavors, sir.
Thank you. Treasurer Dorshevitz.
Okay, that's a little hard to top, but I also wish you all the best. I am also very grateful to have this opportunity. I appreciate the fact so much that the voters returned me to office. It's bittersweet because my deputy, she's been deputy treasurer in Plymouth Township for 24 years,
Yes.
has decided to retire, Amy Hammy, and Amy did a fantastic job. She served under 3 treasurers. I was the best, she said. Mark was second. But I'm really grateful for Amy. She was, when I came into office, she was, had only committed to stay for 6 months to the end of the year until I found a replacement, and things worked out so well in the way we worked together that she stayed for almost 3 years, but now it's time to retire. So I do have a replacement. He's a township resident. His name is Jim Bealey. He'll be sworn in on the 20th with the rest of the board, and we'll continue on from there. So once again, thank you to Amy. Round of applause. And the better news is taxes are coming out. Everybody's thrilled about that. They'll hit the mailboxes. You should get them either on November 30th or December 1st. We try to time it that way. There's only one thing that you might notice that's different, that there's a really small amount of money that goes to a Veterans Relief Fund that has been in place since 1899. And that's always been baked into the Wayne County line item, and I've separated that out rather than do the back end calculation. I have it listed separately on the taxes, so you'll see a few dollars less in your Wayne County line, and you'll see this line that says Veterans Relief, and that's what that's all about. That's all I have. So once again, thank you to the community for your support. It's very humbling, and I'm very, very grateful.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Jerry, thanks for running a great election for us.
Well, thank you. I'm,
under the new rules.
a lot of new rules, and I'll go into greater detail about the election process at the next meeting. I'll have a time to develop a nice report on that. But I just want to say that, I've known Kurt for 20 years.
Oh, at least.
And at least that long. And in different capacities, he was a state rep, before he came here. He also worked for Wayne County and did a great job for the county there. So I've known him for 20 plus years, and it's been a real pleasure to have worked with him. He's a person who has always been thoughtful of the needs of the community that he served, whether when he was serving as this supervisor or a state rep when he serviced the whole larger area, and then also when he worked for Wayne County, and then also in Dearborn Heights. So he's done a wonderful job, and I know some people have had some differences of opinion with him on certain issues, but I know Kurt's character, and I know his heart, and I know that he really loves this community and has always tried to do the very best. He's a very open, very honest individual, and I'm going to miss having you on the board, but I know you're not going anywhere. You're still going to be in the township, and you're still going to be doing wonderful things for yourself and your family.
Thank you.
And it's been just a great honor.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Trustee Kermy.
Glad to be elected and invite all of the public and the employees on November 20th at 11:30 for the swearing in. Who is not going to get sworn in then on that day? Is everybody going?
Me.
Mark, are you planning to get sworn in on that day?
Yes, everyone's
going to be doing that? Okay. And I think if you need to be sworn in for some other thing like planning commission,
Yeah.
whatever, we can all do that.
Yeah, Bob has to be, well, it's up to you guys, but I don't know what your intentions are, but he has to be reappointed, or somebody from the board has to be reappointed to the planning commission, because that's an effective date of November 20th.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So on November 20th, you will still show up at the planning commission?
Yes.
He still can.
He will still show up, and he can still vote until his term is re-upped by the board.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
standard procedure.
Standard procedure.
So his vote still counts and all that good stuff.
Jerry, are you going to prepare the documents?
Absolutely, yeah.
For the judge to sign?
Yes, exactly. I believe that Denisa, our records clerk, has contacted almost everybody to make sure they get how you want your name to appear on the document. And then we will have those for everybody. There'll be one for retention of the township and one for each one of the people who are being sworn in. So you can hang it on your wall and say, look at this.
Do we still have to sign that old form that said that you completed your campaign finance?
No.
It's not required anymore?
No, yeah, this is, that's all required by the state and the county, that have to be done by the 25th of this month. You have to have it filed.
Right, but at one time, they wouldn't let you take the oath.
Exactly, yeah, but not anymore.
That's waived now.
That's waived now.
You don't have to worry about that detail. All right, well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Congratulations to all of you who were successful in the election last week, and it's been a pleasure serving with all of you here on the board these last few years, and we're off to bigger and better things. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So by Buckley, second by Kermy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.